just going to do another small stream, and I'm just going to keep talking about the tower defense that I've mentioned in the previous video. I hope that you like this new intro. I'm going to try to change it from time to time just to give it a little bit of color to the stream. And in the meantime, I would love to remind you what we have so far. Well, first, I'm Diego Lizarazo, and this is a little bit of the information that I have here, my YouTube channel, where I'm going to put all the videos that I'm going to save from the Twitch that I'm doing right now. So I guess that, and I have many more tutorials there. It's not just the Twitch. Like even before I was starting doing this, I had many more tutorials, like my first game with Construct 2, and I think some of them are a really good series and you should follow them. Now let's go back to Construct 2, and this is what we had so far, and I'm going to show you exactly how it works. So right now we are trying to create a tower defense, but I just recreated what we had in the projects and the templates that you have already with Construct 2 that are turret. So you have 3. In the first video that it was just like 10 minutes, I was showing you a little bit the basics of them. You should go and check them. And so far we have created this. So I'm just going to run the layout. So really we have 2 different examples. One that is working turret, and another one that is the enemy that is following a path. Okay, so well, the first thing is that we have a disconnection. So right now one thing is what I'm doing with this tower over here, and the other thing is what the enemy is doing over here. So I'm going to say that the tower, instead of following this square, that I'm still going to leave it there, is going to try to shoot the enemies that are these triangles here. So now, since the towers are going to be mine, I'm going to change them for a blue color. Okay, oh well, blue. Okay, they still look horrible, but still, I'm going to make them a little smaller now, 45, 45, something like that. The other thing that I need to do is to change this. So I don't know if you have seen it, but with Construct 2 you don't have to delete something if you don't want it to execute. You just have to right click and say toggle disable. So now you see that it's crossed here, so that means that it's almost like if it's deleted, but that way you don't have to eliminate it. And before I continue, I'm going to save this one, and that is going to be Tower Defense 02. And really I'm going to copy this one and untoggle it. And you see that at the very beginning of the game I was saying that my tower has a target that was called target. In this case I'm going to change it, and it's going to be the seeker that is the enemy. So let's see how that works. Well, the seeker is too far away, so what I should do is to move the tower a little closer just to see if it works. And now it's trying to do it. Of course, at some point my enemy is getting out of my range, and then I'm not going to be able to do it. This other little element here that we have before, it's not really going to do much. It was more for the previous example that I had there. So I'm just going to move it here to the side so we don't get distracted by it. Okay, so the other thing that we would love to do is to add new towers. Okay, so right now I'm just going to do exactly the same thing that we were having in the template that comes with Construct 2. That is, when I click, I can create a new tower. In that example, what they were doing is that when they were clicking on top of the walls, that way you didn't have the chance to just block completely the enemy by towers. But I'm just going to do the simpler thing, and we're going to start modifying that in different streams. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to double click and add touch. Okay, that way I can detect when I'm touching or where I'm clicking. So I don't know if you have seen that before, but the touch plugin also can detect the input from the mouse. So if you're running this in a web browser, in a computer, and you're using a mouse like I'm doing right now, this is still going to work. Or if you're using a tablet or a phone, this is still going to work because it's detecting the touch. So what I'm going to do here is add another event. I'm going to pick touch, and I'm going to say on any touch start. Quite likely in the future we're going to modify this, but for this example it works. And I'm going to say system create object, that is going to be the tower, and is going to be in the location, the touch that we already have here, dot x and touch dot y. Okay, so let's see, and I can add new towers. But you see that the new towers were not trying to follow or to do anything with the enemy that we had here. So I think to see exactly what is happening, what I'm going to do is just to open and copy basically or modify the template that we already had with construct 2. So I'm going to have it here, so turret, we're going to see. So this one is a great example, especially because it's divided in two areas that are enemy control, that are the pathfinding that we already had, and the turret control. So in this case, you already have here, look at this. It's already saying that this, whenever I touch one, is going to recreate it. The part that I don't see here is why. Well, let's try it, because it looks a little weird. The new towers are working okay. Well, I think all these were new and they seem to be working okay. So I wonder why in my example they are not working as okay as I thought. So let me see if there's any difference. On touch wall, in this case, system create object, in this case my tower, layer 0, there's a different one, and it's here. Okay, so let's see what happened. It's almost like it's not detecting this one. And acquire target. Well, then I'm just going to try to say perhaps somehow I missed it, and I'm going to say that I acquired the new target. But just in case, let's see if I'm missing something else. Find, whenever is find a path. So you see in this case is that they are going to create new path. Subtract, collision, pick a random turret. Let's try. Okay, well then I don't see. Let's see exactly what is happening. And it's on the start of layout. Okay, well. So, well, it's working with that little addition that we had there. So, there you go. So in this example, because well, I'm going to go crazy here, and at some point you see that the bullets are going crazy. There are many bullets. Let's see if I did that in the previous example, and I didn't. So what happens is that well, this is my bullet, and it's going to be shot from the tip of the cannon of this tower, and then whenever it is created, basically it just starts moving. And if we don't do anything, this bullet, it could go all the way outside of the screen and it will just continue moving. And if we create many towers that are shooting constantly, quite likely I'm going to create hundreds of bullets without taking care of them. So what we could do is to decide to change the behaviors that we have here and then add another behavior to the bullet that is called destroy outside of layout. That means that even if I create hundreds of bullets, at some point they're going to go outside of the layout just because they keep moving, and then they are going to be destroyed. So that means that I'm not going to have thousands of elements at the same time on the game. On a computer, on a normal computer, that may not be much of a problem, but on a mobile device, quite likely at some point could be a problem, because you're going to have to, well, your engine, your phone or your tablet is going to keep track of many elements. I still have seen hundreds and thousands of elements in one particular game, and still the engine works without a problem. But hey, I like to be as clean as possible, and then this should work. Okay, so this part is fine. Now the other thing that we don't have so far is that our enemies, I just have one enemy, and I should be able to have, like in our example over here, that enemies are constantly created. So in this case they created this element, this green element here, that is called a spawner. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make it in yellow just to differentiate ourselves a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. Okay, something like that is something like that, whatever. And I am going to put it over here. I'm going to call it a spawner, right? So the entire thing is, I'm going to say system every X seconds. So let's try it every 2 seconds just to see it different there. And the spawner has to spawn a seeker or one of my enemies. So I'm going to say spawner spawns another object that in this case is the seeker. Okay, so let's try that. That's it. It's creating them, but they are not moving. So why they are not moving? Well, again, just because I have it already open, I'm just going to copy that here, and you see that I'm missing this part. Okay, that is to find a path to the other side. Well, I can do it manually, but let's do it manually, or let's do something else that it's something that I covered in one video that I did before. That is how to copy elements between projects. Usually you can copy objects, directly objects, or you can copy events between projects as long as things are named the same. So one of the things is that my enemy is called different here, so I'm just going to rename it to seeker, just in my original project. And the other one is called goal, not enemy target. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to rename it to goal. And I think I should be able to copy with Ctrl+C or copy here and go here and say paste. Okay. And now it should work. Now, why is it working just with find path? Because we already had another condition, another event that was saying that on pathfinding path found, move along path. So whenever I'm creating a new seeker, I'm saying find your path, and this new seeker is going to say like, hey, after X seconds, usually it's just milliseconds, finds a path, and then it's going to trigger this other one. Now I'm going to show you something that could be a little confusing, but I think it's really cool. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the walls and I'm going to give them another behavior, that is the drag and drop. So that means that I'm going to be able to move the walls, and I'm going to try it the first time. Look at this. The first enemy makes sense that follows that path, right? But the other enemies, the new enemies, should be able to go through this opening that I have here. Or in this case, for example, they should stop and say like, hey, there's a solid. So why are they still going through the same path? What happens, and this could be a great game to recreate, something that you change the walls of your game, and well, you can create different paths and force the enemies to find like a new way. That's something that I actually have tried to do, and it has some inconvenience, but I'm just going to explain what happens here. At the beginning of the game, or the first time that you say that you should find like a new path, the game constructor is going to calculate the best path to get to one point, and then it's going to store in its memory the path that it should follow. But it turns out that calculating a path, it's quite intensive. If you keep doing it constantly, then it's going to slow down your game. So it's not going to recreate the path constantly. So what happens when you drag and drop this wall? Then it's still going to be stuck with the original path that we had. So what we could do is to try to recreate it whenever I drop the wall. At this moment I'm dragging, and now I drop the wall. So let's do that. This is not exactly a normal tower defense. It's just that I thought that it was great to explain how pathfinding works in Constructor. So I'm going to say when the wall, that is the one that has the drag and drop, and you see it here, drag and drop, and you have several options when it's dragging, when the drag starts, and in this case I want on drop. Now I want the seekers to recalculate the path, to regenerate the obstacle map. Now this is from some versions before. You also can regenerate a region around, so instead of like recalculating the entire map, it should just regenerate a small region, and you could do it around just that wall. But let's see if just regenerating the entire map works. So I move it here, and now you see that it was not able to grab this one. It was still stuck, but the others were able to find the right path. Now let's see if I do something like this. This one should do it. You see? So it takes a little bit, and that's why you should have a trigger that says on map, on path found, because every single time that you completely change the map, you can change the position of the obstacles, then you should have problems regenerating your map. So this is it. So let's see, just for the fun of it, if I just say seeker regenerate obstacle around object, around regional object, and I'm going to say wall, and then I'm going to deactivate this one and see if that works a little faster. So this one, it's already on his way. And well, it's not really working so great. But well, that's something that I will show you in following sessions, something that I wanted you to be aware of. I'm not going to do it too often, and actually I'm just going to disable this entire thing here, and I'm going to also disable the drag and drop just in case. So I'm not going to do it. Just wanted to show you that you have to consider that if you have a set path, then you are not going to have problems at the beginning of the game. Your seekers, your enemies, are going to find a path, but if you're constantly changing your path, that's something that you will have to work around, and it's a little bit more complex, and it's because the game, well, Constructor, or basically any other engine, is going to have a little harder time finding paths constantly. It's quite intensive, at least compared with many other things that take just a millisecond to calculate. So now, what else did we have? The other thing that this, well, the other example had is that our enemies that are over here, Seeker, oh, there you go, they had a health. That's something that we haven't done. So I don't think I have mentioned that in some of the previous games or previous videos, at least on Twitch. And we have created before global variables that I'm just going to add even one right now. And in this case, I'm going to say a score just to have it there. Quite likely we're going to use it at some point. But we haven't talked so much about instance variables. So what happens? Like, what is an instance variable? At some point in our game, we're going to have many enemies, many seekers. And each one of them could have a different health. So let's see. For example, this one that starts here, it has already been hit several times. So its health should be different from the second one and the second one and the second one. Okay? I don't know why they stop shooting now, but well, whatever. So to solve that, what we should do is to add an instance variable. So I am just going to add a new one. In this case, it's going to be called health. Okay? And originally, well, in the other example, it was 30, so let's do it for 30. And the thing that I can do is that, well, in this case, I'm going to copy it. This one was for the previous example. If you remember, the target was different. So I'm going to say that the target now is Seeker. And here I'm going to just like, well, this one doesn't work. I'm going to diminish the value, so subtract from health. So I'm going to subtract 5. And then I'm going to say when the health of one enemy is less or equal to 0, I'm going to destroy that enemy, that is the Seeker. Destroy. And, oh, okay, cancel. Well, it seems that right now they are not going to be hit anymore. Times. I don't understand why they are just hitting the first time that they detect an enemy. But well, that's quite interesting, something that I'll have to find out. First in range, no, I think I'm just going to say nearest. I think that's the problem that I was having, huh? Now it's not doing it. That's interesting. Target mode, protective aim, first in range, yes. Initial state, use collision cells, yes. Turret, fire, Interesting. I'm not entirely certain what they are doing that. That's something that I'll have to restart in another project and just to find out what's going on. But well, this is the kind of things that we are supposed to find out here. And just to make certain that I'm destroying that this one is doing it, I'm going to subtract 50 directly from. See? So I don't know exactly why it's not doing it like that, but well, there you go. So as you can see, there are many things that I have to fix for my tower defense, and perhaps next time I'm just going to use the example that is there, but if not, I am going to investigate on my own why this is not working exactly how I expected. But we're getting there. So in 2 small videos we have seen already several aspects of how to get your own tower defense. Again, if you haven't seen before, here is my contact information, and let me know if you have many questions, if you have suggestions, if you have comments or something else. I would really love to hear from you, and if I also would love if you stick around and let me know what you think about these videos and what you think about the projects that I'm doing. So well, thank you.